Then way on the outside, his fingers. So this is our house or our ancestor. He's standing there with his arms held open in a gesture of welcome. So this is your invitation today into the house. Follow me. Okay, so just need to remove our shoes and then come in. Start our shoes off. Okay, now in our culture we believe that these houses, that there are ancestors. At the front you saw his face, arms, fingers. When you come inside, you're entering the body of the ancestor. So on the top is the tahuru mitarangi with the backbone. What connects the backbone to each carving, to the painted rafters of the heke, represents the ancestral ribs. The artwork and carvings inside gives the ancestor life. Now, this house was built in 1940 and it took 6 years to build. There are thousands of these carved houses all over New Zealand, but when you go to another area, one house represents one tribe. This house is quite unique because it represents all the tribes of New Zealand. Now the carved figures on the walls are facing each other, telling us they're directly related from the same tribe or the same area. If you look down the walls, you notice different styles of artwork. It's telling us they come from different tribes. Tribes in New Zealand all have their own artwork, their own styles and variations. So these two and the two on this side, carved in front of guarding the doorway. These carvings come from a local tribe here in the north. We've got ourselves a Maori tribe. Now follow me over here, I'll explain about this carving. Now, this carving comes from a place called Waitangi, okay, which is just south of Auckland. If you know anything about New Zealand geography, you know the Waikato people, they have the largest river in the country. So it's quite easy to see what this represents. You can see the flowing design and pattern represents the river. But not only that, but the main food source of the river is the tuna, or the eel. You can see the design of the tuna in the carving as well. Okay, now have a look at this carving down here. Okay, now this carving comes from a place called Taranaki. Okay, now you guys know where Taranaki is? No? Okay, if you're not sure, Taranaki is in the centre of the North Island, but it's way over on the west coast. If you ever go there, the first thing you'll see is a sacred mountain, Taranaki. So in their carvings, they always put the head in the shape of a mountain. So it's quite easy to see where these carvings come from. Over there's a river, Waikato, here's the mountain, Taranaki. Now this carving comes from Whakapane. It's in the centre of the North Island again, but over on the east coast. She's a woman, half fish, the female god of the sea. Her name is Hinemoana. Now follow the carving up the ribs, the backbone to the other side, they're facing each other. Over there, the male god of the sea, Tangaroa, half god, half fish. This tribe have these gods in their artwork because they live next to the sea. Now stand where you are and have a quick look around the house at the carvings. And I want to ask, is there anyone here who can see something in the carvings that is quite common with the majority of them? Besides the shallow eyes, okay, that's too easy, that one. Anything else you can see that's common with the carvings? Any guesses?
The eyes.
The eyes, yes, that's one thing. So they've used shell, we call it power shell, that's been used for the eyes. Anything else you can see that's common with the carvings? It tells a story. These houses are storehouses of knowledge. These are ancestors, they're the guardians of the knowledge. They also share the stories of our past with us here today. So that's a little bit about the time. Okay, now I just want to add on about this carving again, because people ask me lots of questions about this one. Okay, first question visitors always ask me, is this the only woman inside the house? Tell them no. There are actually lots of women inside this house, but this is the only woman with natural human-like features. So it's easy to see that one. And we can tell she's a woman because she's got tattooing around her mouth and chin. But this is not the only woman, there are many more. Another question visitors always ask me, why don't she have her tongue sticking out? Okay, so always explain, she's got her mouth closed and eyes closed. Reminds us of prayer. Because prayer is a very spiritual part of our culture. We have a lot of rituals, ceremonies, lots of ancient chants. So when you see the mouth closed and eyes closed, it reminds us of prayer. And everything balances in our culture. Because if we go in that direction, straight over there, there's another carving with natural human-like features again. But this time, he's got a full facial tattoo. It's a male. He's got his mouth closed and eyes closed as well. So prayer was important to both men and women. Now, the last thing I'd like to share is about this carving here. This figure represents our ancestor, Rahi. He lived here in the north over 500 years ago. And the tribe in the north, we call ourselves the Ngāpuhi tribe. We're the largest tribe in the country. Our territory spans from Auckland all the way to the top of the north. There's over 170,000 members in our tribe today. Every single one of us trace our genealogy back to this ancestor, Rahi, the founding ancestor of our tribe. I just want to explain about this, tāmoko, or the tattooing. Now the tāmoko tells us about a person and the journey that he takes throughout life. Usually starts when you're at a very young age. Tāmoko tattooing starts on the lower parts of your body first. Then once you grow older, you gain more knowledge, more experiences, more achievements. Once you reach a mature age, you start placing the design into your face. Now the facial designs tell us what this person's role was within the tribe, whether it was gardener, fisherman, priest, warrior, artist, healer, many other things. But I've been told that the forehead, I've been told that's the most painful of all places is tattoo. The forehead, that was reserved for the chiefs, the highborn leaders, those who were great and successful in many of their battles and challenges in the face of their life. So the forehead is all to do with status. Now one thing that's deeply entrenched within all the artwork is our genealogy. It holds no value in our culture. We believe that our past, our ancestors, is all a part of you today, and you carry them wherever you go. So it's always important to acknowledge and to honour those who passed on before. It's part of our customs and our culture. Okay, so that's all I have to share with you. The first question is to you, the visitors. Had you heard of the Treaty of Waitangi before you arrived here today?
No.
Some have and some haven't.
A small amount.
A little bit, yeah, okay. Alright, so what I'll do,
Me,
actually,
0%.
just want to ask, is there anyone here who'd like to share with me what they'd heard about the treaty? But if you haven't heard much about it, just have a guess. Tell us what you think the Treaty of Waitangi may have been about. Anyone want to have a go? Any guesses?
About land.
There we go, that's a good start. Okay, so yeah, if you read the treaty, it's only one page. It's got 3 parts or 3 articles. And the second article talks a lot about land. Actually, it's quite specific. It talks about land ownership. Okay, because I guess from a Maori point of view, you know, our people have been living here for a long time, and we actually, in 1840, Maori made up 99% of the population, so we're in a quite a strong position.
Oh.
And yeah, and the chiefs and tribes were very protective of their areas and their authority and all that kind of stuff. So in the treaty, the second article, they're trying to secure their property rights. But on the other side as well, you know, you had the British. They were part of this agreement. So the Māori were open and were welcoming settlers to New Zealand. And if the settlers wanted to acquire land, that was fine. But they had to follow a formal process. And so if settlers were coming here, what they had to do was they had to go to their own sovereign first, the Queen or King, whoever's on the throne. They had to ask for permission if they wanted to buy land. And then that sovereign would then negotiate directly with the sovereign Māori chiefs of New Zealand. And that's the way that land was to be transferred. Okay, so there we go, that's a good start, land. Okay, so anyone else got anything you can add to that? And just to let you know, the reason why I asked you about the treaty is just to get some input into the discussion and kind of gives me an idea what you'd heard about it as well. Because the thing is, when I have people on the tour, there's usually 30 or 40 people here. And I always find maybe half the group, they would have heard a little bit about it, but then on the other side, half the group, they haven't heard much at all. So this is just the time to share some information. And the other thing is that while we're doing this, I always find people within the group that will have different opinions, different views, and different ways of looking at the treaty. And that's the case. That's how it is in our country today. We as New Zealanders, we'll have our own opinions. I believe we're all entitled.